Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination thrive. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair. Calm down and get your teeth and get at the Sci-Fi Center. We got almost everything a geek could want at the Sci-Fi Center. You name it, we got it. Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and everything in between at the Sci-Fi Center.
Woo! Happy Sunday. Happy lazy Sunday. Like I said, you guys have not seen as much of me over this past weekend as you're used to seeing. I had some things that I had to get taken care of in my non-YouTube life, and it's going to be that way probably for the next week or so, until probably February 9th-ish, somewhere around there, if not sooner. So, but like I said, for those of you who follow me on my social media, everywhere else, you're going to see those things that I'm working on coming out to fruition. So, welcome to a standard Sunday night live stream. No real specific topic. This is just a weekly wrap up. Like I said, we didn't have a full blown Saturday overnight last night, so kind of like coming over to this one. I saw a new Superman little trailer type thing come out with him flying, Lex stepping out of a plane. Superman flying. I mean, I've grown up watching Superman fly, so that wasn't a big, huge deal for me. I saw the influences of Top Gun, the way he does fly, so I think that's kind of cool. What else happened? The Alien Earth. We'll probably, once Brad gets here, we'll probably take a look at that. They had a little 30-second promo that aired during the football game. That one game, both games went exactly how I thought. Kansas City always finds a way to win by 3 points. Probably going to win the Super Bowl by that much. I said at the beginning last week, once Detroit was gone, that there was no team in the AFC I thought was going to win it, including the Washington Commanders. While that game was going on, and I knew they had to face the Eagles next, you can go back and watch the show from a couple of days ago. I pretty much thought that Washington was going to get blown out, and they indeed got their asses blown out, 55-23. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs for three-peating, because I don't think Philadelphia is going to beat KC. KC knows what to do in those moments, and it's been a while since Philly's been there. 2017? Since Philly has been there, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be on their fourth Super Bowl. I have no dog in the fight. I'm not a KC. I'm not a fan of either one of these teams. I will be watching the Super Bowl. Even if it's a good game, the tighter the game is, the less of a chance I think Philly has, because Andy Reeves and Patrick Mahomes and company know how to win those type of games. They show no nerves whatsoever. They execute in the moment. And I just think that KC's a better team than any of the teams that they've played in the Super Bowl. And now this will be the second time that they played a team twice. They've beaten San Francisco twice, and now I think they're going to beat Philly twice. So, yeah, be watching the Super Bowl. I'll mainly be watching the Super Bowl for the commercials and stuff. So, because I do think we're going to get a Fantastic Four commercial on Super Bowl Sunday. I really feel it in my gut that we're going to get a actual Superman trailer on Super Bowl Sunday somewhere. It may not be on the actual broadcast, but I think either during the Puppy Bowl tournament, I don't think we're going to get some kind of small thing. I think they're going to use that exposure as they should. You shouldn't be, if you have a movie like this that's this important coming up that you think is this important, I don't see any reason why not to put it out on the Super Bowl. So I think we're going to get both Fantastic Four. Could be wrong. I think we're going to get both Fantastic Four and Superman trailers on that day. So hello, Clint. I don't know if I have the energy to do an open panel tonight. To be really honest with you guys, if you watch the show from the progression all the way up, not a really big fan of open panels. Things get just too chaotic and people scream. We do them, but if it is a tiebreaker, my instinct is always I'm just not a big fan of them because there's just too much going on, too many people. Everybody wants to talk. One wants to talk over each other. It's like, I end up spending the entire broadcast wanting to do this. So we'll see how I feel as a bride, especially if I, if I'm going solo tonight. I don't know if that's the situation, but we'll take a look at it. Like I said, I might feel a lot better at the end of the show, but I'm just not the biggest fan of open panels. Hello, Jalen Harris. How are you doing? What's up, Larry? Larry, I hope you enjoyed your double feature there that we went ahead and did for David Lynch. William, Mad TV versus SNL versus Living Color. Which one do you think was better? Matt, it's not even close. It's not even close. Mad TV. Mad TV pissed a lot of people off. You thinking Living Color is controversial and SNL might push the envelope? Mad TV pissed people off. You Google how many people got pissed off. They didn't give a fuck. Mad TV just said fuck it. And Fox stood behind them as long as they could. I mean, but Matt, they did not care. I remember, I think the people who were broadcasting Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer were pissed at him too because they did something called Raging Rudolph, and it was hysterical. The animation type was the claymation, whatever they were doing, was almost exactly like what you would see on Rudolph, and it was the only thing that distinguished it was playing late at night, and there was like all this cussing involved. Mad TV would just, I think their goal was to make people angry. But all the other ones are compared to them, I think were kind of vanilla. But yeah, I think Mad TV was the best out of those three. And here's the thing: when it comes to Saturday Night Live, I can watch the cold open and the weekend update, and very rarely do I get involved in the skits. Like the Beavis and Butthead one they did a few weeks ago was hilarious. Or Heidi couldn't even keep a straight face because of the way Mikey Day was dressed up. And they had what's his face, Ryan Gosling up there playing B. I mean, that was funny every now and then, but for the most part, whenever I sat down and watched Mad TV, and you only had a half hour for Mad TV versus an hour and a half for SNL, it was kind of funny. And Living Color was funny, but after the first or second year, it just the same routines, but that was their proving ground to go on to other things. So it was an important show. Thank you for all the geeks. Well, another Chiefs Super Bowl match again. God, I hate this team. A lot of people hate this team. And I'm not just saying it because we're a Raiders fan, a football fan. This sucks. Yeah. When you win a lot, people tend to hate you. It was the same way with my Lakers when Kobe and Shaq were together, when Magic and Kareem were together. And by the way, my Dodgers are about to get a whole bunch of hate because they're going to be winning an awful lot. Too bad. You guys let the Astros screw us out of a World Series, and now we're going to stack up a bunch of them. So, yeah. And like I said, get ready for Taylor Swift. Get ready for Taylor Swift. You're going to get a whole lot of Taylor Swift. And to be quite honest with you, Taylor Swift brings a demographic that just wasn't watching football before, and you know the NFL loves that. They love ratings. So, all right. Who's in the Super Bowl this year? The Philadelphia Eagles will be defeated by the Kansas City Chiefs. I heard maybe Bills and Eagles. Listen, the Bills played as hard as they could, but like I said, when you've been there, Patrick Mahomes has been in the AFC Championship game every year that he has been a starter. There's no rattling him. You know, there are things that that can rattle quarterbacks that are there every now and then or not. But when you've been there every year that you've been a starting quarterback, there's nothing that's going to say, oh, damn, we're down for a little bit. They were actually losing that game at one point, but they knew what to do. You know, I mean, Buffalo has been there before, but not as many times, and they haven't had the consistent success. You know, once you win at that level for that many times, there's really nothing that can phase you. So, and I think that's going to be the same way when it comes to the Super Bowl. It's been 5 years since Philadelphia has been in the Super Bowl, and that was under a different coach. You know, in a whole different setup. And in that interim, Kansas City's won 2 more Super Bowls. I think 2 more Super Bowls. Or been to 2 more Super Bowls because remember they lost that one to Tom Brady. No, last year was wasn't last year the 49ers? Yeah, last year was the 49ers, yeah. Last year was the 49ers. So I hate both teams with a passion, so I'm rooting for horrific injury. Oh, well, oh yeah, because Cowboys fans need to hate everybody. Here's the thing, though, and it's funny that you brought up the Raiders, Jalen. The Raiders got Pete Carroll as their coach. Yes, Pete Carroll is 73, but he's not a human 73. Pete Carroll has too much energy to be sitting at home. This guy has to coach. He's a 73. He'll be 74 when the season starts. He has more energy than most 50-year-old coaches in the league. So he's enthusiastic. He's exactly what the Raiders needed. Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys went with another puppet coordinator that'll listen to Jerry Jones, so that's not going to change. Okay. We're using a cigarette. All right. Listen, they had the game. Like I said, it comes down to, you know, same thing with Lamar. Lamar Jackson. You have to have an organization. The best coach team in football are the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not even close. Nick Sirianni is not in the same universe as Andy Reid. It's not. And when you have that kind of coaching and you know who to trust and what plays you can call, dude, they got a coordinator on there that's won, you know, it's got 4 Super Bowls of his own. I mean, it's just, you know, this organizations win those things. So, I mean, the Bills are just not that organization. The Ravens are not that organization. The Chiefs are. It's the same thing in baseball. People say the Dodgers are buying World Series and all that. No, but a lot of the people that are our Dodgers were drafted that have been Dodgers from the beginning. And the people that they have traded for, they've had prospects to trade for them. And there's a lot of people. Max Muncy was left on the scrap heap. They picked them up. See, organizations do those things. And when you have good organizations to put the proper pieces out there, the machine works a lot better. Like I said, the difference between the Cowboys and the Chiefs right now is organizational. By the way, how you doing, Daniel? I thought Daniel Martin in there. Hi, Daniel. What's going on? All right, let's see. Well, yeah, it's apparent to me that this won't be a breakout gun movie. Everything from crypto to Adam Warlock playing in the trailer. Wow, that's having overlooked the suit and affected as criminal. I listen. I don't know how Superman's gonna do. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how audience are gonna receive it. I don't know where the audiences are at with Superman. Superman's always a tough one to figure out because everybody's got their version of Superman in their head, and sometimes people's mind, you know, they behave like steel traps, and they have a death grip on the Superman that means something to them to the point where they won't let go of it enough to embrace another one. I don't know how Superman's going to do. I think would be satisfactory if I was an investor if around we were saying before between 450 and anything over 450. To be honest with you, you know, in 550, I think is a great start. If it goes, if I had to guess, I would say high end is going to be around 650 million. But that could go up though, depending on, you know, we have 6 months. We literally have less than 6 months now to start, you know, showcasing things and bringing things out there. You know, the dog. I mean, you know, the dog is something that really doesn't have anything to do with necessarily the part of the story, but it's a great marketing tool to get people in. That might connect. I don't know how Superman's going to do because I don't know. There hasn't been a Superman movie in so long. I don't know where the fans are at. I don't know where the regard for Superman is. I don't know if it's going to be a breakout movie or not. It could be listen, you could have a critical breakout and it doesn't necessarily need to be a financial movie. Like I've always said, there's a good chance Superman could lose money. But here's the thing, there's a lot of movies out there that are good that lose money for a whole bunch of reasons. You also have to realize how the franchise prior to James Gunn coming up was mismanaged. And a lot of people still remember that. Even the hardcore people definitely remember that. But the general audience is like, you've let them drift away for the last 7 years without Superman in the headline. So I don't know how it's going to do, to be honest with you. It's probably out of the 3 movies that are releasing in July of 2025. Superman's the one that I don't know. I'm not as sure about as far as what it could do, you know, box office wise. And I don't know what it can do creative critical wise because I haven't seen the movie. I have a lot of faith in Fantastic Four because that is a well-oiled machine that's been running for a long time. In Jurassic World or Jurassic Rebirth, I'm not going to see that movie because I'm not a big Jurassic Park fan at all. But I know that movie's going to make a crap ton of money because the last 3 have made a crap ton of money. But when it comes to Superman, there's just too much that's up in the air. So nah. I'm not really good at that shit. I mean, I can call certain things. I mean, calling that the Eagles were going to blow out Washington, that wasn't genius. I just looked at the Eagles team. I looked at Washington's teams, and that was to me you know not a hard call in my opinion. Cancer Man said the Bills would never win as long as he was alive. I haven't seen the exact file, but I think he is, considering his outcome. Wow. Yeah, I think he got like 520 some views. That also tends to happen when we have our really long. If you look at a lot of our stuff when we go really long like that, it gives more people opportunity to watch. Yeah, 526 views. It gives people a while to jump in. But like when we went for our ASFP charity on New Year's Eve, that was 814 views. So the longer we're on the air, the longer it gives people a chance to chime in, and that registers, which is kind of cool. Hello, Rhea. I saw your post, you know, swinging through the jungle or something like that, or what was that? The thing, the zip line you were on, crazy woman. How are you doing? Well, to be honest, the recent Superman discourse is so yeah. Flat out sad. I understand giving criticism, but there are bad faith arguments, and that's why I haven't been, like I said, I haven't been the biggest fan of the discourse. I'm not really looking forward to the conversations that one way or another. You just got to know who you're having conversations with, really, because some of the people are just out there to get James Gunn, and some of the people are out there to screw Snyder fans. And to be honest with you, neither one of them are worth my time. So I've been just scrolling through. Now, if there's somebody saying something that's, based on, common sense and we can have a conversation, then I slow down. But for the most part, this is the greatest movie since, they created electricity, and other people are like, oh, it sucks. It's, pedo and all this other stuff. So I don't really have time for either one of those groups, to be honest with you. Very thirsty today. All right. Hello. I don't think they should be betting on games. I think that's a problem. Anybody that should not be betting on games, it's the people. Even if they're not doing anything to fix them, their perception. Look at how many people think that refs are fixing games for the Chiefs. Could you imagine if something, I think it's a bad look. I don't even know what the rules and regulations are because I'm not an NFL rules guy, but I have to think that that's a bad look to to even have them anywhere near gambling. Do you think the refs help the Chiefs? I don't think they intentionally help the Chiefs. I think they're incompetent when it comes to calling some of the stuff that they do. The Chiefs are really smart at knowing what to do to draw penalties, and the refs go for it sometimes when they shouldn't. Like that game last week when you had the 2 personal fouls, the 15-yard penalties, and then Kelsey goes in and scores on the next play after that. That really hurt Houston. That really hurt Houston. I thought that stopped their momentum. It stopped their drive. And when you have plays like that have consequences like that, it doesn't make them look good. But I don't know if they're conspiracy wise. I don't think the NFL would allow that because once you have that impropriety going on, you basically would kill the NFL because a lot of people that are watching these games are betting some way, shape, or form, even if it's fantasy football, their office polls. Most of these games in the NFL are unwatchable without fantasy or betting. So if they were to lose that angle, you would lose a lot of revenue in the NFL. Look who's here. Hey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it starts a little bit behind you on that, I guess. And I wasn't quite sure what time we were streaming anyway. And because William messaged me earlier that he wanted to save the next Daredevil watch along for tomorrow. So we're just going to do kind of a general Sunday kind of Q&A with everybody.
Yeah, so we'll do a couple more episodes tomorrow and probably some more on Thursday.
Because and then at that point we'll be
done with the first season.
Well, you want we're through episode 6, so we got 7 more. How many? How many?
Yes,
13
season?
all told, and every season is 13 episodes.
All right, so tomorrow it's 7 and 8.
Yep,
7 and 8. Then we'll have 8 and 9, and by Monday we'll probably slap a couple more in there because I don't want to take too long on this first season.
Well, like within the next 6 days or so, we will have completed season 1. Very exciting because I'm looking forward to the show.
All right, like I said, now we're starting to get into the episodes where I think some characters I thought some mistakes were made. So you guys will see it. I don't want to say too much, but like I said, there are at least 2 characters. I don't care about the Defenders characters because I really didn't pay them much attention to them when they were on the screen anyway. But there are 2 characters that I thought, had they been handled differently, could have changed the course of the show for the better. I did not like you already know I don't like the way Karen Page is portrayed. I mean, I think that is a perfect actress to play her. I don't like her story.
Is there anything specific that you really hope they, as far as like addressing what you're talking about, is there anything specific they can do with Born Again?
No, because they've already fucked up the Karen Page story. So I mean that was, like I said, that was a big. Now Karen Page and Foggy, they've been around forever. They were in Daredevil #1, so it's not like But what they did with Karen Page during the Frank Miller run, and when they already did it, like I said, the only way they could undo it is to retcon that story and make it like they did happen. To be honest with you, 100%. You know, I know they're not going to do that. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I also wouldn't. I actually three characters. I'm sorry, three characters. I thought they really kind of messed up and didn't. The show wasn't as good as it could have been. Elektra, Ben, and Karen Page. Those are three characters that I thought were mishandled.
And Ben is like, you're probably not going to get a well, I mean, it's comic book universe. I mean, anything's possible, but Ben, it's like it's don't expect that in the immediate future without going into spoilers.
He's dead. All right.
Okay.
I mean, there's really no way to really talk around it. He eventually, I mean, that's most of you,
and it's a really scary moment, like when his death scene, when we get to it. For those of you who haven't seen the show, it's one of the moments. I mean, how much detail should I give?
Nah, we don't need to detail how he goes.
Okay,
you've already kind of like brought us to the edge anyway. So it's like when you say that he's probably not going to get a so-and-so, we've pretty much already, that cat kind of like tore the bag and left out.
No, it is. But William knows what I'm talking about. I see. It's like, it's a really jarring. I mean, it was one of the scenes on the show when season 1 was airing that just really just took everybody like completely off guard. And there was a lot was written about it, and so you guys will see that.
I wasn't a fan of any. I wasn't a fan of it at all, of how that happened. I said over and over again how mischaracterized the Elektra was, and then Karen Page's character was completely transformed. She's not recognizable from what made her good. And if you're going to do Born Again, the whole crux of Born Again was Karen Page and what she went through, what she was going through, what she put herself through. That's not Karen Page. What Deborah Ann Woll's playing is not Karen Page. It's got the name Karen Page, but it doesn't have the core of what Karen Page does. And I thought that was a drawback. Obviously, the Ben thing and the electric thing was probably tied for the Karen Page thing. It was my biggest disappointment. And this is about a show that I really like. But those are three things that I thought held the show back. I can't put Daredevil in the best comic book show category because of those things.
And by the way, I mean, you guys like have heard like William talk about like because we're I mean, to be clear, it's like still we think it's a phenomenal show, and like you've heard William talk about like not liking like Doomsday and Batman v Superman and things like that. Yeah. So it's like even like William's saying like what he says, like this is not like a C- show. Even like what would do, but nobody's like coming down on like that hard.
Nah, but when it comes down to best comic book television show of all time, these are things that this comic book guy, that's the kind of curve I give it, because especially if you're going to go specific storylines, and you really can't dance around what Karen Page means to Born Again and do anything else with it but what was done by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. So that's just been, like I said, a non-comic book nerd might think see what they did was just fine, but once what was written in an original narrative, it sets the stage for the intensity that you see when you see on the show. And
what are your thoughts on the what are your thoughts? Okay, like all that said, and like I'm sure we'll talk more about it when we get to this episode. But see the Karen episode in season 3. Like, what are your thoughts on that episode? The Karen sent the flashback episode to her before season 1. Like, because I really enjoyed that episode.
It was well done, but because of those things that I'm saying, it doesn't mean as much. Without what happens in Born Again proper, those flashbacks don't really make the connection. It's like you're missing something there. You know what I mean? There's something in the middle that should be there, that is supposed to be there, but it's not going to be there because they made narrative decisions to do this way. And so, like I said, well done, but not. The weight of her character is about half of what it should be, as far as like what she means.
Well, again,
and what she means to the dynamic between her, Kingpin, or the Kingpin, situation and Matt.
Well, and again, there are elements of Born Again that's what we're like her story in Born Again, where again, like she's doing porn, And that, or there says I was like, I don't know. Again, that might have been like it's like an executive edict where it's like, okay, this is like something. It's like even though they're not like properly part of like the MCU, Marvel Studios fold to that point, they may have still said, okay, that might be like a bridge too far for
Well,
what we're the audience or what we're trying to do with the show. So it's like, I mean, it's still very dark.
well, the thing is, they didn't have
them.
Frank Miller in their corner. See, when Frank Miller didn't in
Yeah.
the comic, nobody was saying no to Frank Miller. But
That's
when
true.
Frank Miller is not, he's not a part of it. He's not a part of that she was advising and all that. But he didn't have much. Here's the thing, though: if you're not going to do that, then don't do Born Again. All right. If you're going to take so much of what her character meant to that storyline out, then do another. There's plenty of other Daredevil stories during the Frank Miller run that you can do. Here's when it comes to adaptations and things like that, or if you're going to tell a story where we don't ever have like one-to-one adaptations, but there are certain things that have to be there. There are certain things that have to be there for a story to mean something for me. And if you can't have that part of the story, then you really should have gone on to do another storyline. I don't think I disagree with them doing Born Again or doing that storyline because I had a feeling going into it, they were not going to be able to do it right because there was missing too many elements that hit hard. In that, because it doesn't have much. The situation between Kingpin and Daredevil doesn't have it because that central person involved and what that person goes along with the story, and you're missing that. And I thought it was a mistake for them to do that. But like I said, I thought it was a mistake to use Doomsday in anything that you actually want to be good. I thought that was a mistake there because, like I said, especially for those of you who've read Born Again, you understand what I mean. I'm betting Superman will do 800 million. Maybe I don't have a case to make against it or for it. To be honest with you, the dinosaur movie will probably make $1 billion. F4 would make 9 million. I think. I think that you're right about two of these. I don't know about Superman. I don't think Superman needs to make 8 million. I don't know if it will or not.
I usually don't like to do like box office predictions, mostly because I'm not the best guy with that. I'm not a math guy. I'm not
two of those are easy though. Two of those are easy.
Checking. I'm not checking the pulse of like box office trends kind of guy. And anytime I try that, I mean, anytime I look at something and say it's like, oh, I think it's going to do this or this or this. It's like, I mean, I tend to be off on those things. I'm very forthcoming about that. So it's like, I'm not for any of these. I'm not going to give like a hard dollar, prediction to it. I mean, that said, it's like, I mean, the dinosaur movie.
Jurassic Park is going to make the last three have made $1 billion. You have a track record there.
And see, here's the thing too, also, because I was thinking about this because when I was on the Film Junkie stream last night, I've been talking about it a little bit about Jurassic Park, and you're in the comments. It's like, oh, Brad brings it back to Barney the dinosaur. Listen, we're on a show called the Sci-Fi Center, where you say the genres here are sci-fi, horror, and fantasy, but dinosaurs don't brought back through cloning technology don't count in any of that. Come on.
Not to that conversation you were having last night, though. You brought your damn stuffed dinosaur to a grown man's conversation, so that's why I was fucking with you. Listen, I don't care about Jurassic. I've never cared about Jurassic Park. It's just, and I'm not saying they're bad movies. They're gonna make $1 billion. It's just by the time those movies came out, I wasn't a kid anymore, and my dinosaur phase was over with. Now that one's gonna make. I think that one's gonna make $1 billion based on the success that the franchise has. I think that. When you're talking about Fantastic Four, even though you have some people putting on the red nose and the red wig and the white makeup and the big shoes that say that Fantastic Four is not a high density, high priority character for Marvel, it is. They're treating it that way. I think those numbers are solid for Fantastic Four and Jurassic Park. I think those are no brainers for those movies. When it comes to Superman, though, you have a complicated situation that doesn't apply to those other two. So there you go.
Well, you have a complicated DC situation that doesn't apply to those two, so it's also that.
Well, it's a DC movie, so yeah. I'm just getting Flash, PTSD.
Oh, everybody's talking about like the whole like the one like the Superman spinning while he flies, and like the close up on his face. Yeah, I stayed out of that whole conversation today because it's like, I mean, now granted that if I will, the effect didn't look good, but
I just don't even add fire to that conversation because now all of a sudden we're CGI experts and most of us are fucking boneheads who couldn't tell Gumby from Pixar half the time, but we're experts now of that looked like so and so. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, and I know, William, you talked about this first, like after we did like our big New Year's Eve, Snyder movie marathons. You said, yeah, like we need you wanted to like take a little bit of a break from like the Snyder DC movies or Snyder adjacent DC movies before we do like any further watch parties. But I forgot who it was who asked this, but somebody asked like we for doing one for the Flash, and it's like, yeah, we both like Flash, so it's like we'll do one.
I like Flash, but here's the thing, guys.
Oh, like do it like August or September, something like that.
I'm just exhausted of the Snyder conversation right now. Once again, the exhaustion goes away when there's something new to talk about, but there hasn't been anything new to talk about for quite some time now, and all we're doing is bashing our heads into the same bloodied walls that we've already bashed our heads into. So I want to move on from the Snyder conversation unless there is something directly,
Use that word, move on, man.
No, but as far as like it's in our, listen.
I get it, man. I get
it. Anybody who's ever shot a rifle, been in the military, you could be the best sniper in the world. But if you don't have a target, you don't have anything. You have to have an opportunity for this conversation to mean anything. There will come a time. I'm not moving on from the situation like that, but there will become a time when it is strategically ripe to talk about this stuff. Right now, it's just nothing going on right now,
and especially like with kind of the speculation, the two of us have had where we talked about, it's like, we don't think he's abandoning what Flash set up, and like that whole set of characters in that universe is just like a segue into his, and that just is something that that won't become clear until we see a couple of the entries in his franchise. So it's like it might
we got years.
Yeah, so it might even become more pertinent like once we get to like right after like the big one is Peacemaker, season 2, where it's like it's going to address the canonicity of season 1 minus the Justice League cameo going to the DCU. Okay, so whatever answer we get on that, it's like that might make the Flash suddenly very pertinent to doing a watch party on that.
But that's when we'll start, going on. I hope they fix the CGI because that was real bad. Like I said, I'm going to do other stuff, engage in a timeline. Yeah, like I said, when it comes to CGI, most times, to be honest with you, I've seen some bad CGI in really good movies, and it just didn't move me. Like I always bring up my example, the Killmonger fight with Black Panther at the end of that movie was Crayola worthy, and that didn't hurt that movie at all for me. Right? The CGI in the Flash, people were harping on, oh, the babies look like baby dolls. I'm like, the other shit that they did in that movie was really cool, and that's what you sat and stared at that giant screen, and that's what got you going. And like I said, now everybody's just CGI. I'm not making fun of you, Antonio Baker, but there's been, when I was watching the CGI, was this CGI was that, but you look at the list of their favorite movies, and I see shitty CGI from top 1 through 10 sometimes. So it's like if the movie is overwhelmingly good when it comes to Superman, that CGI on it is not going to really bother me, to be honest with you. But I'm in the minority. I know a lot of you guys really just were like,
Well, like one thing I really enjoy as far as like the effects in the Flash, one thing I actually really, I don't know if I mentioned this on here before. One thing I really liked,
blame him.
Blame me? What did I do?
Yep.
I didn't put the TV spot out. Oh, anyway, well, one thing I did really enjoy in the movie with the effects was I really did like the design, because obviously like the big question I think a lot of people had going in was like, what was the Speed Force going to look like?
Oh.
What was like time travel? I really liked the concept of the Chrono Bowl, where they made it look like it was almost like this Greek amphitheater that had these little snapshots of like every big moment in the timeline. Yeah, I thought that was a really
I wish they would have done more with it, but what, it was what it was. I like that too, the bowl. The Chroma Bowl. The Chroma Bowl is what it's called.
Yeah, I thought that was a really clever way to show time travel. And so I did like that a
lot. Dune 2. I don't even need to think. That's why, like I said, by the way, guys, hard ban topic. I mean, hard. I don't care. We are not talking about the Academy. I do not want to waste any moment talking about the Academy Awards when those things happen, unless by some miracle Dune wins. Because there are so many snubs and things that happen on here. But every time I think of the Academy Award, I think of Dune not being up for Best Director. So, and then a lot of other awards that I think that it should have been up for. So Dune to me was the best movie of the year. So there you go. Yeah, I saw that commercial. One of Snickers. How you doing, Antonio? Or not sorry, I'm sorry. Azteca, what's going on? That Texans calls were weird during the roughing. Yeah, the roughing of passer and a personal foul. Those are two 15-yard penalties. That's 30 yards of penalties in that one was a close game, and they scored on one of those. And even though the one that they didn't score on, that gave the ball, that allowed the Chiefs to run the ball down. I mean, it just those things happen.
Bell Rev says, "No, I want the treadmill." Listen, Bell Rev. Listen, when we get
cosmic treadmill,
yeah. With that, I mean, yeah, it's like let's see it too. Listen, when we get some kind of like next time we get like a big like Snyderverse like nugget or explosion, trust me, I'm with you on there talking about that. So
right now we just don't have the nugget. We don't have anything.
We just want some. We want some meat on that chicken, to actually serve for dinner. So, what else you guys got for us though? Godzilla. Well, no, that was 2023. That was the year before.
That was October. So. That was October of 23.
Yeah,
that already won. That one award that it did not. I'm sorry, it did not deserve. So we already got past that one. You had a better argument for Godzilla -1 and best movie. Those effects were not Oscar worthy. Sorry, but yeah, that was 23.
Yes.
Once again, there's really no. They are, but I'm like I said, I'm not the biggest CGI critic, guys. So
it's the Rhea. Oh, here's a good one up here from Rhea. If you can find it. Damn, where is it?
Should have put a star on it, man.
I'm just here to instigate the blades.
Then once again, that's as dead as Snyderverse talk, really.
No, that's deader. That's like, we got less than nothing to talk about there.
You don't. There's nothing going on. Once again, as we get towards the talk when Doctor 3 starts coming together, then like I said, I cannot believe Kevin Feige will not use that to introduce him. I think it was a horrible decision. Some of the greats made bad decisions. Everybody had a bad day at the office.
We all have bad days at the office.
But I don't think they should have ever put a Blade single movie on the docket to begin with. I thought that was a mistake. I still think he should get one, but I think that the environment that he gets introduced in is as important for the success of the movie as anything else. And I think Doctor Strange is the perfect environment.
Do you think, looking back on that, fourth? I mean, it's like I
don't. Be honest, if you look back, I don't. Somebody else on the screen does.
I always look at it like that line Indiana Jones, where it's like I'm like a bad penny. I always turn up.
Yeah, but like I said, it's like fighting a 15-20 round fight. It's like you've been hitting the head so many times. It's like I got to sit down for a minute and.
Well, bring it back to what we were just saying about Blade. Looking back on like that Comic-Con announcement, do you think at the time? I mean, this is like all in hindsight, but at the time they did that, do you think there's any possibility that maybe there was like almost like a right hand as well as left hand is doing, like maybe like kind of like Feige kind of more envisioned like we'll first introduce him in a crossover cameo kind of capacity, and that because they kind of did that anyway with the Eternals, boys cameo.
Yeah, it was just done stupidly. That was the dumbest thing that they've ever done. I think that the MCU was just in a different place when they were doing that. I think the MCU was in a completely different place, different trajectory, and the interim time that has happened, better ideas have come up. Adjustments have been made, and what was announced then no longer fit. It really never did. They should have always been ready to introduce him. And be honest with you, you should have introduced him in Multiverse of Madness. That would have been the perfect spot to introduce him at that time. But under no circumstances should he have had his own movie, simply because he's not that kind of character within this universe.
And that's why I say it's like, was that maybe like, again, maybe like the conception was like there's more to it than we know because again, it's like, we technically have had a a Mahershala Ali Blade presence with the. I agree. It's like probably a lot of people didn't even know that was him. Probably most
Now,
99% of people. But was that like the idea? Like they just didn't communicate that well. It's like he's going to
I
appear.
don't think they were ever really behind it, to be honest with you. I think they half-assed it. Because, be honest with you, okay, here's what would have changed everything. If you'd have had him say that stupid shit, whatever, it's a dangerous story, whatever, and you would have turned and you would have panned to Mahershala Ali, now that changes everything because now you have your audience. You have properly introduced him. Now you can kind of plot your course from there. But the way they did it was stupid because I really don't think they wanted to do it. I think, like I said, it's not to have the ref. Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, and I think that hurt the character. But like I said, you got Doctor Strange 3 coming on, and he can play a pivotal part. You can have him in like 30% of the movie, and I think that would be good for the character. I think that would be good for Mahershala Ali. And I think you could go.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would go even further than that because he doesn't fit. Those are just characters that were alive and they had access to, but he actually fits to the point where if you did a Doctor Strange movie or more, he could have been in Multiverse of Madness for a while, and he could have been in 75% of a new Doctor Strange movie without overshadowing Benedict Cumberbatch because he's that kind of character. He fits there. And I'm not one of those guys that said, well, you need to do a single movie for everybody before you do it. No, but I think that there are certain characters that if you put them in the best environment, you could get them launched a lot quicker and you could get the MCU audience, because right now, listen, the MCU audience, for the most part, like I said, you wonder why a lot of people didn't know or didn't watch Daredevil, even though they knew about it. The MCU audience watches MCU shit. Most of those guys didn't start watching comic book movies. Most of them, not all of them, because we got people that were watching. The vast majority of them really got on the bandwagon in 2008 going forward. That's where their universe and their world begins.
Well, like it's with, I mean, that's basically what they did with Black Panther too. Like you're talking about like this strategy of like, because I mean, now he's a character, is a household name, but he wasn't at the time. So it's like, okay, we'll put him in Civil War. The joke I tell is that he went from stealing the show in Civil War to having the show stolen from him in his own movie by Killmonger. But
now, Black Panther's a little bit different though, because Black Panther you could have
done solo first.
Because remember, Black Panther is one of the first few characters that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee got together. He is a top tier character. He's an A-lister. Black Panther's an A-lister. When you get your own book like that earlier on that long, and you're considered, like he is, and Jack, like I said, if you're in any of those handful of characters, whether it be X-Men and Avengers, any of those ones that were created within the first 4 years, the first 5 years, 6 years, you're a little bit higher tier. And the way Black Panther has been treated in the Marvel universe in general, and in any form that he's been with, has been a lot higher than Blade. Blade is not at the same level as Black Panther, but you can still bring him in. Like I said, if you read Blade comics, I don't know a lot of people who watch the Blade movies who actually read the comics, but if you look at, there's a whole lot of DNA in there for both of those characters, especially when it comes to vampires, the vampire wars that Doctor Strange had with Dracula. I mean, you had so many characters that first made their first appearances in Strange Tales and in Doctor Strange that it's natural for him to have appeared there. I don't know what they were thinking with that Eternals thing, but
yeah, well, again, it's like I think they were thinking this is how we'll introduce him, and they just kind of chickened out and like it's like a very non-committal, we won't show him, we'll just hear him kind of thing.
Yeah, that was stupid. But like I said, I don't think he should have been in that movie at all. I think, like I said, Multiverse of Madness, you had useless cameos in there for people who got killed. Scarlet Witch kills people in ways that they can't even die. I mean, unless you don't know how Black Bolt's powers work, in my opinion, that he's not going to be able to kill himself that way. That was dumb. In his head caving in, that was stupid.
The best one was John Krasinski as Mr.
The
Fantastic.
spaghetti, yeah.
Well, because he was like, I mean, that was obviously like responding to internet fan casting, but it's also like, okay,
Oh yeah,
we'll cast him, but it's like we're gonna kill him 5 minutes later.
yeah. They had no future plans for him. So, yeah, I thought you could have easily put Blade all throughout that movie. So yeah, that thought it was such an opportunity. William, and Born Again, how is Fisk able to run for mayor? Last we saw, he was arrested, and easy. Manipulation, good lawyers.
Yeah,
He has the
really
best lawyers.
I'd say.
Wilson Fisk has the best lawyers in the city,
Well, and
possibly the nation.
without getting like overly political, I mean, I think if this last decade is proof of anything, it's the ease. Like it's not that hard to get elected, even or to overcome controversy to get elected.
Yeah, you don't
as
have to.
people think.
All you have to do is you have to speak the language. If Wilson Fisk spoke the language that the people he was talking to wanted to hear, it didn't have to be the truth, and that's what he did. He basically lied. He's a con man. He lied. He's a criminal, and he basically that's how he did it. But as far as that goes, no, that's easy. That's easy. Him being arrested and getting out of jail, shit. I mean, even like I said, you can be a convicted felon and run for the highest office. So that wouldn't have stopped him from taking off.
Or you can lie your way out of like you just like, I did not have sexual relations,
Yeah.
and then there turn out it's like, well, I mean, I said I termed it the right way, that I technically wasn't lying. So
yeah, what is. But once again, the voters were 75% behind Bill Clinton. They didn't give a fuck, and he works for them. Unfortunately, when you have situations like that, it's the way the framers set up these things and the way democracies work is they didn't leave it up to mechanisms. They leave it up to people. People don't always make the best decisions, but that's what they wanted. They wanted the consequences of our own decision making to take hold of us in order to make better decisions.
The only thing I think I may kind of like agree with that point on a little bit is that if they did they like actually get any hard evidence for him in terms of murder, for his conviction?
That's what I'm saying. Who's going to talk? I mean, he's still feared.
Yeah, well, because in season 3, again, spoiler, but there is. Okay, maybe I should avoid that too, because that is a spoiler of that. As far as
you already fucked up, Ben, to the point where
okay, I'll leave that alone.
A spoiler anymore. I mean,
I'll leave that alone. But I mean, that there something, the way season 3 ends does actually, it's very pertinent to their Daredevil and Kingpin's relationship going into Born Again.
All right. No, I'm not. If I see him in the right context, if I see him in his own movie, which is basically set up to fail at this point, then yeah, I'm going to be mad. But if you put him in the right context to where you can give him a primer and then go forward from there, then I'm fine with it. I mean, I just think it was a bad idea to ever introduce that movie when they did. I don't think they were ever behind making that movie. If Kevin Feige wanted that movie made, that movie would have been on its third sequel right now. But they didn't want it. So, but like I said, you still have Blade is integral into that universe, in that corner of the universe. Why he hasn't been in Doctor Strange by now is fucking stupid, in my opinion. All right, hold on for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. I was leaving you guys with me. See what you guys got for me in the chat. I'm going to pull this back up when William comes back, Aaron. Or Ray, sorry. I was looking at Aaron's comment there, which, by the way, how's it going, sis? It's now the Brad Show. Damn right it is. Damn right it is.
Yeah, no, okay. He's not.
Yeah, I thought I'd bring this back. She looks at Day Zero. Yeah. Did you see this? There was this meme that circulated like pre No Way Home that it had Toby. It was from Spider-Man 3 when he's like getting all cocky with Jameson in the office and he does like flipping his hair around. It had the caption. It's like, I'm the first MCU movie now.
First MCU movie. First MCU movie was Iron Man. Yeah. All right. First MCU
I get it, but people are just having fun with like the whole. It's like, well, I mean, I've been. There has been a pathway that's integrated me into this cinematic franchise. So.
And that is correct. You are correct for that pathway to lead you. Check your message, your text real quick, by the way.
Okay.
You're right to have that pathway, because one of the main reasons why the MCU was able to get off to such a strong start is because you had the credibility of those movies that led up from Fox and led up from Sony. Those were really good movies. By the time you saw that logo again, that Marvel logo, that logo had the credibility. Marvel Studios had the credibility now, and Kevin Feige was part of that.
Wasn't he? You're talking about Black Panther? Yes. Canonically in the comics, they do get married.
Oh yeah, which is kind of weird, but cool.
Yeah. Do you think? Actually, because talking about you're kind of talking about Black Panther and Blade, sort of in tandem a minute ago. It's like, do you think, like, I mean, could they have done like a kind of like a 2-for-1 sort of thing, where it's like they had, if they had done like, okay, we're starting out with the Black. Or even if they had done like what they did, like Civil War cameo, then the Black Panther solo movie. Do you think that like Blade making a cameo there could have like facilitated his entry?
No, because the story wasn't right. The political intrigue, and Black Panther is a world leader, or he was a world leader in waiting because he was the prince. So Civil War, world government intrigue, political intrigue, Black Panther fit there. I think the best story for Blade is a Doctor Strange. It's perfect. It actually is so perfect. It screams to be done. He has to be in Doctor Strange 3. He has to be in Doctor Strange 3. I mean, I can't, I can't believe that's not on the table. He has to be in Doctor Strange 3. And anybody else you want to introduce that's in that genre of Marvel needs to be there. If you're going to do a new Ghost Rider, if you're going to do any of these things, and have Wesley Snipes with him, have Wesley Snipes go out with a bang and pass this torch to this one in a Doctor Strange movie. That's how you get, you get everybody involved. So I can't believe it. They're going to do it. There's no way. The idea is it says do it, and that Kevin Feige is smarter than me. So there you go.
By the way, guys, I got William's text. If it sounds like I'm sniffling a lot, I sneezed like a couple of times before we came on camera, so that's why.
Yeah,
and it's really weird.
I'm wearing earphones, so I'm getting it. Like
I tried to. Well, it's why when I'm taking a sip out of this, I turn my mic on mute. It's really weird too, because we're just coming out of like a big time snowstorm here. I mean, snow's finally melting outside, so I don't know why it's like it's only sneezing. Maybe the grass is visible again now. The pollen's coming out, although I don't know how that's even possible.
Yeah, we're supposed to get some rain here, but not a lot. It's just supposed to be scattered showers. It's not. It'll help California more than it'll help us.
Australia has had its fair share of political sex scandals. One of our prime ministers had a full-on mistress of two senators. Particular political parties has had an affair. Oh yeah. Like I said, it's like, I mean, if you're in a position of power, you got the right lawyer, you got the right PR guy, and it's that you can spin your way out of anything, out of any controversy. Other than, again, I think this kind of applies to. It's the same thing I've said about like as far as like celebrities, making like comebacks from controversies. The only thing I don't think I've ever seen anybody come back from, and I don't think you could, would be like child sexual abuse.
Yeah, things like that, but like affairs and stuff like that. And a lot of it is how the politician or the character can relate to the average Joe. Is the average Joe going through the same things that this guy's being, and people have, you have a country that has 50% divorce rate. So you have infidelity. So it's a lot of the relatability to that, is gonna matter as well.
Well, like George Bush, when he was running, I mean, he was the first president who had a felony conviction. For his when he was dealing with alcoholism, when he was had his DUI arrest. So it was
a misdemeanor. It was a misdemeanor.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but he was even. I mean, the first like had like a pre-presidency like conviction of anything. Something like that.
No, it got dropped. Yeah, okay. No, the guy that's in office now is the first felon.
Okay, but you may lose your thought there. Okay, yeah. So again, the fact that he had a history of alcoholism, he had DUIs, and
George W. Bush had a drinking problem. That's
that's not. I mean, and they made that part of his. I mean, they made that part of his campaign where it's like this is his redemption. you know, that he came back from that, and he turned his life around and became governor of Texas, and now he's running for president. So yeah, again, it's like when you get to something like child abuse, that's like, okay, that's right. I think that's where most people would say, like 99% of people would say, okay, we draw the line here. This is something that's you're not going to talk your way out of this and make any kind of comeback.
All right, everybody is not a CGI professional. I can prove that because some of the shit that people let go, and then we'll look you in the eye and say, "Well, the CGI was amazing," and I'm like, dude, I just saw fucking Lego shit on there on what was supposed to be animation. I don't know what you're talking about, but that's fine. No, none of us are professional CGI people unless we are actually professional CGI people. Because, like I said, the shit people just ignore or choose not to see in some of these movies that are supposed to be great. Or I'm like, come on, you know. I mean, so no, none of us are. I don't care how long we've been watching it. Our minds are subjective. I don't give a fuck. So I'm not a CGI professional, and I've seen enough of it. Right? It has to be pretty egregious to ruin a movie for me. But there are other things that are going to ruin a movie for me long before you little cartoon characters take hold.
Bad CGI, like a poorly removed mustache. Yes, I did that. I went there.
All right, I'm skipping all the Zack Snyder stuff, guys. I just don't feel like doing it tonight.
Yeah, don't worry. Well, there will always it will. Like I said, bad penny always turns up. There will come a time. Could the Daredevil and Ghost Rider movie share?
I really hope not.
Well, I mean, if they're both in the MCU, they do share a universe. So
they share a universe, but there are certain ways you can handle a universe to where it's not necessarily prominent. You don't have, just because Daredevil would be in an MCU doesn't mean he needs to be in Hell's Kitchen, and it doesn't mean he needs to be hanging around with Daredevil. I don't think they are a good mix for each other.
Yeah,
I've seen when they tried to do that, it hasn't done well. Daredevil needs to be with Daredevil. That's what Daredevil needs to be around. Daredevil doesn't need any other superheroes in the movie with him. He just doesn't. That's the way the character has been designed since 1981. And that's the way every writer and everybody that has taken on the character, who's done well with the character, they've stuck to that code, and it works. Once you start bringing in other people, you take the focus off of Matt Murdock. It's Matt Murdock, the city, and one or two people. That's it. That's all you need for Daredevil.
You see, I don't quite go that far as what William said, but it's like, but I'd agree. Like Ghost Rider is not he's not the best character. He's not the character that fits the most as far as like, going into Hell's Kitchen. Because I mean, you're talking about.
I don't need Luke Cage either. I don't need Danny Rand. I don't need any of those guys.
It's a street level kind of crime fighter versus like the supernatural side of Marvel. So it's it really is apples and oranges.
Not just that, it's a solo show. Daredevil is a solo character. That is what he is. Daredevil is a solo character. He does not require these other things. Foggy, Karen, and a villain. That's all he needs.
What's on the wrong thing there?
Yeah. So Daredevil is a solo, solitary character. That's how you do those characters. There are characters that rely on having Doctor Strange. A lot of times there's a good percentage of Doctor Strange stories that have a lot of people in it. When you see him in the MCU, he's that type of character. Fantastic Four, Reed Richards. Daredevil is not one of those characters. The more you add to Daredevil, the more you hurt the story, because you start taking the focus off of the triumvirate that has been worked for damn near 50 years. Him, the city, and the villain. Everybody else is just support characters that leads to him. Everything you see in a good Daredevil story is there to support one thing, Daredevil. Karen Page is there to support the narrative of Daredevil. Foggy Nelson, Daredevil. The villain, whoever it is there to support the story that is Daredevil. Once you start bringing other street-level heroes in there, you fuck that up. You do not understand the character if that's what you think needs to go on. Because that is not the character. That's not the character. And a lot of times when they make mistakes with this, is people they look at it's like a salad. Like I said, when you go into the refrigerator, just because you got a bunch of shit in your refrigerator doesn't mean you need to put it all in a salad bowl and eat it. It's probably going to be gross. And that's the same thing with certain comic book characters. It goes character by character. Daredevil is not one of those characters that needs to have a fellow fucking hero, hanging around. You know what? And if you're gonna bring him in, it has to match. Frank Castle is a perfect match for Daredevil's psychology and story. No one else that was brought in during this time on Netflix was. They were just there. I don't know.
Oh, Aaron, it's like you said. It's like Darren. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it wasn't clear already.
Yeah, he's a solo. I did not listen. I have
I was trying like
I wish they would retcon.
I was trying like
yeah.
No,
I want them to retcon. No. I want them to retcon them. They serve no purpose for the Daredevil narrative. They serve no purpose for the Daredevil. You're bringing in characters that have nothing to do with Daredevil just because they look cool for some time. You got plenty of time to do that. If they ever bring those characters in again, they should never be on a Daredevil show. That's it. They should never be. I should never fucking see Iron Fist associating with Daredevil. I should never see Luke Cage associating with Daredevil. They were never there. No. All right. Now, if you want to do something with them away from Daredevil, that's fine. I think the MCU's cluttered enough. They'll get lost in the clutter, but that's fine. But you have a special moment here with Daredevil to really do this and refine it. Redo Elektra. Please do a better job. Marvel, if you're watching, keep that same actress. I think she's fine.
Elodie Young?
Yeah, you got to do better than that. You got to do better than that. You already fucked up the Karen Page thing. If you're going to keep that, line, that if we're just basically going into a season 4, then you really can't retell that story that's one of the things, like I said, they had the opportunity to tell one of the most powerful stories that Daredevil's ever had, and they decided to G-rate it by comparison, which in my response to that is just don't do it. If you can't go all the way, then don't go. Don't go. Yeah, Daredevil's a solo.
Yeah, Aaron. Sorry, I wasn't like trying. I was like during the no one liner. I just like heard William was like going on that whole tangent there, and I saw your comments like, oh yeah. So in case it wasn't clear, yes. So I was like, Aaron's like maybe sis. I never thought that might be sis.
William explains things. There's only one way I explain things, and it's kind of
it takes you like 2 hours to do it.
It's why I'm here. It's why I have a business. It's why I've been successful. I don't give half answers, guys. That's not this. There are other shows that do it, that can give you quick answers. I don't. You ask me a question, you deserve an answer. All right. Let's see. I don't have precious legendary guys as movies. I didn't think those movies. There's no real Godzilla. It's not up to anybody to say what's the real Godzilla. The legendary movies are as real to those people who enjoyed those movies, as anything else. Minus One didn't deserve that Oscar for what it was nominated for and what it wanted for. It wasn't even. It should have even been nominated. So not only should it not have been nominated, damn sure shouldn't have won. And that's not me knocking the movie. You look at that movie, and if you are being really honest about the title of the award instead of sentimental, then you come up with a different answer, and it wasn't Godzilla Minus One. The little guy came through with a little bunch. Who gives a fuck? That's not the award. The award is not the best you can do with the budget you have. The award is best visual effects, and it wasn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yes. No, I was actually looking at one of Aaron's comments here. Let me pull that up real quick. So it's not a deception because the Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage, like comics wise, they have all been. The only one who was never like in the comics like until that point had never been on the team was Jessica Jones. But like William said the other night, and this is definitely true. That it's not as Defenders in the comics. It's not as codified of a team as like the Avengers or the X-Men or the Justice League or anything like that. So they're the Defenders, they're characters who like meet up for like one-off kind of crossover missions. Basically, is kind of the way to put it. So they get together. It's like, oh, we got like a mission that requires all of us. So they team up. They go their separate ways. They come back again. It's an occasional kind of thing with them. So it's and that maybe that's why it's like, maybe they weren't planning on ever doing like more than one season with Defenders. Who knows? But if they intend to cross them back over now once they kind of get the Netflix ball rolling again with the characters and bring it back in the MCU. But yeah, it's not a deception. It's just that Defenders is much more loosely connected than a lot of other teams. And it didn't start out with those characters either. Like the original lineup was, help me out, when it was Doctor Strange,
Silver Surfer.
Damn, who else?
Hold on, I'll pull it up.
Like,
but once again, I wouldn't say the deception, Aaron. It's a misrepresentation because A, the type of team that they were, and B, their connection to Daredevil is like.
Well, and like as I said, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, they have all at different points been part of Defenders. I mean that is accurate to their comics history. But yeah, just it's again they it's a team that's like they occasionally get together for like missions that require multiple heroes.
Yeah, they had a rotating. You had Doctor Strange, Namor, the Hulk. Those are your primary members that stayed. That was the main lineup. Daredevil was in there, but for very briefly. So you look at the memberships. All right, Doctor Strange, Hulk, Namor. Those are the original ones. You had recruits in the early 70s, which is Clea, Silver Surfer, Valkyrie, Hawkeye, Nighthawk, Power Man, Son of Satan, Yellow Jacket, Red Guardian, Hellcat, Devil Slayer, and Wasp. Daredevil was really never a member of this team. How the flying fuck did he end up associated with them in the show is beyond me, and I think I do have a mind for comic book stuff.
Well, and with Luke Cage and Iron Fist specifically, it's like their main team affiliation is Heroes for Hire, which that is like, for anybody who's not familiar, here it's basically a detective agency that Luke and Misty Knight start, and it consists of traditionally it's Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Colleen Wing, Misty Knight, and it's kind of like the idea is there. It's like, okay, we're already kind of like doing detective work in our day job, so it's like let's meld that with the superhero work, and that's Heroes for Hire is basically a detective agency consisting of superheroes.
Now look at this. To me, this is one of the main things of why am I seeing Defenders associated with Daredevil. Look at, you even have a group a category, Defenders for a Day. Black Elias, Captain Marvel, Captain Ultra, Falcon, Havoc, Hercules, Iron Fist, Jack of Hearts, Marvel Man, Miss Marvel, Nova, Paladin, Polaris, Prowler, Stingray, Tajak the Leopard, or whatever the fuck that is, Torpedo, and White Tiger. Where's the name that's missing from there, guys? I'll give you a couple of seconds. No, you don't need any. 0. Daredevil. So I never understood that. I never understood introducing them in that show. I never understood them associating with that show. It didn't work for me because it never worked at all.
Listen, Aaron, contrary to what William is saying, the show is still very good.
It was all right. But it had no, regardless to what you think of the show, it had no fucking business on associating with Daredevil, and that was my problem.
It sounds like you haven't seen Aaron. Yeah, that's what we're here for. Like one thing I really enjoyed in it is, again, even though we're not doing a watch party for it, the way they come together is it's a very loosely knit team, and they're the way they come together is they're all have like to kind of invade this one corporate organization, and all 4 of them have different reasons to be there. So it starts out Iron Fist goes there first, and he ends up in a fight with all the henchmen. Then Luke Cage gets there, then Daredevil, and then Jessica Jones get there. So I really enjoyed like how it emphasizes like the individuality of them, and how and they don't want to be a team other than Iron Fist. He's the only one pushing the idea of a team, when they all get together. But and again, they pretty much go their separate ways by the end. But so Defenders it's a team of one-offs, or our team for one-offs, basically, comics wise.
I would have rather them focused on Daredevil and Punisher. Those are the characters that they really, why they thought they needed to go on to this other shit. And I don't want to see it again, to be honest with you. If they bring it back in the MCU, like I said, it's going to get lost in what the MCU is, and that's fine, because that's where those characters need to be. They don't need to be associated with what they were associated with. I hope they don't do the all-colored lanterns thing. I be honest with you.
Are we talking about the whole spectrum? Like
the black and white, because that, be honest with you, was a popular storyline I don't think you use that as the establishing story of the Green Lanterns. I don't think that. And as far as them calling it Lanterns goes, I think by the time we get to the Lantern, tell you what, I know what the Lanterns are. I don't think there's a problem there. I know what the Lanterns are. I mean, Green Lanterns? I think Lanterns is fine. I think Lanterns is fine. It's the show's about Green Lanterns. I think it's undeniably about Green Lanterns. Lanterns is fine. I don't think that hurts it. I think they are going to get the respect that they deserve, though, because this is the first time you're actually, getting to see them.
I mean, yeah, it's like, it's every other time they keep pulling the plug on Green Lantern, or they keep screwing him up, or they keep letting Jeff Johns have influence that he should not in a filmmaking context. Sorry,
yeah, Jeff Johns is gone. And like I said, this is I think like I said, I can't tell you, I can't tell the future, but what I can tell you is the people that they have assembled, all the work that these people, the ones that are mentioned in here, have done things I've loved. And the premise that they are launching this on, when they compare it to things like True Detective, these are things I like. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward. It's my most anticipated project. I got it. Listen, I hope Superman is good so that I don't have to endure it. I can enjoy it on my way to Lanterns, but make no fucking mistake. Superman is just the door I'm opening to get to Lanterns. That's it. That's all Superman. Any of these other things, Supergirl, World Tomorrow, looking forward to that. I love that story. It's the best Supergirl story, but it's not Lanterns. Lanterns is where I want to be. And once we get to Lanterns, I think this universe is going to click in a way that I don't think any of these other projects can make it click. So I'm looking forward to Lanterns. Let's see. I'm skipping forth this comment because that's kind of a nonsense. Not yet. Midnight Suns. You don't need to do a Midnight Suns, but guess what? Guess where all those characters in Midnight Suns should end up? Doctor Strange 3 should have all of these characters in it, man. Hell, bring back Nicolas Cage as that particular Ghost Rider. You can have so much fun with this. And this is the only time you're going to be able to do this, because once they finish Secret Wars up, that's it. It's over. That's the prime universe that they're going to have. They're not going to do the multiverse is over with. So use this time to bring back some of these fossils, man. It's fun. Nicolas Cage will come back. Nicolas Cage will come back for anything, including playing himself.
Yeah. Well, he came back for the Superman he never played,
and
Spider he never fought.
Nick, I know you live here in Vegas. I have the utmost respect for you. You're an Academy Award-winning actor. I personally think you dodged a bullet with that movie.
That cameo was awesome, Nick.
I think that thank God that movie didn't happen. I'm sorry, that movie looked fucking awful. It looked awful. I think it would have hurt. I think it would have hurt the perception of him. It would have. You wouldn't have had an exec touch another Superman movie for even longer than that took. You'd have add 5 or 7 more years onto a Superman movie. Who knows what we would have got Man of Steel after if that would have came out. When was that supposed to come out?
That was, I think, meant to come out in 98.
98, yeah. Look at what we got. Now the one we got was a bad movie, but it wasn't. It would have been even worse. It would have been even worse if that movie had been released. I think his career would have. He just won an Academy Award a few years earlier. Why would you?
Nick Cage got ripped off on the cameos and the impression it was going to be CGI. Are you talking about the Flash cameo?
Listen, he got ripped off. Listen, we all just the fact that we saw it. It's awful. Why does anybody want to see that? Are you guys wanting to see that because you wanted to see a quality Superman movie? See, this curiosity shit's getting old.
No, I'm not talking about the movie itself. It's just I thought the cameo was cool. It's like it's the DC multiverse is so expansive. The movies that never got made are actually.
I don't think that cameo should have ever been in there, because it didn't get made. That's it. It didn't happen. So why the fuck was that in there if it never got made? Every one of those other things in there got made. They were in continuity. Why did you put that in there?
Well, yeah, but also,
it looked like shit because that version of Superman looked like shit.
Well, I enjoyed seeing the cameo. It's like, it's. I mean, I think people are like kind of like taking, because he was talking about, it's like, I filmed it one way, and then it's like when I saw the movie, it's like it came out like it wasn't what I was expecting. I think people are like trying to get mad on his behalf with that too, where it's like,
what were you expecting? You saw what the show, what it looked like prior to that. We bring those pictures up here all the time.
Plus, I mean, the added like bonus to it, I think, is like, as I said, it's like, I mean, that establishes the DC multiverse is so expansive. That even movies that didn't get made now are canonized part of it. Wink.
They shouldn't.
Wink.
They shouldn't though. Like I said, I mean, if it didn't get made, it didn't get made. It's either made and part of continuity, or it's not made and not part of continuity.
Unmade DC movies are part of the DC multiverse. Wink. Wink.
No, because you're talking about a movie that got made. Are you talking about Batgirl?
No. Are you
not reading Justice League got made? That movie got made. If you would have included that in there, and that movie got made. But
other ones didn't get made.
That's too bad. They're not part of continuity. And like I said,
as far as I'm concerned, after that Spider cameo now.
I cannot believe that anybody looks at that and says this would have been a good idea. That looks awful, man. That looks awful. Why you would want to see? I don't even like looking at the pictures of it. If you care about the legacy of Superman, why did you ever want to see that? Ugh. Anyway.
If that spider helped us, it's like, it's like I will take it.
How did that? How?
What means unmade DC movies are part of the canon. Wink. Wink.
Okay. You don't make movies for fucking foil hat conspiracies, though. You make movies to make money. And why? I mean, never mind.
Well, and meanwhile, we got Will Fly with some commentary. I think Nick Cage was a great Superman.
He could have been. Nick Cage is a top tier actor. Maybe he could have been. That wasn't it, though. That wasn't the good movie.
So the thing about me, I think probably also like his voice. This is just a me thing. It's like Nick Cage's voice. I think is so distinctive. It's like it's kind of hard to like kind of fall into like the whole. He could pull off the Clark Kent thing. You think so?
I think he's a top tier actor. He's an A-list actor. Here's the thing, though. Just because he's capable of doing doesn't mean that was happening in that movie. I agree with you. You could probably make a lot of people Superman. You put him into that movie, he's a good actor. They didn't though. They were trying to make that movie. And that movie was a disaster waiting to happen. That's I can't look. I don't even need to bring.
Yeah, they did. I've seen this as the late John Schnepp. It's called The Death of Superman Lives.
Superman. What happened? And that guy, that guy, they pirated the shit out of that documentary.
Yeah, is that why I can't find it on Amazon now?
Yeah, they pirated it, and that really, John Campea said that he felt all that. He can't say for sure, but that was one of the things because he put a lot of his life into that. And he didn't make a lot of money off of it because nobody was buying it. They were just pirating it, which is like I'm against piracy, by the way, guys. People, I don't give a fuck if you think teas are too expensive. Then you know what, you don't buy it. But you want original stuff. You want people to do this avant-garde stuff, but you want to pirate it and not and make it so that people can't do this stuff. And that really hurt him. But yeah, he did a documentary of that movie. I don't really want to watch the documentary.
Wait a minute. When you say it hurt him like financially, or it hurt him like emotionally?
I think it did both. Okay. You imagine working on a documentary for that long, and you get it out there, and it doesn't do the numbers because everybody's pirating things. And I think that really hurt him. And he was under a lot of stress. And I'm not a doctor, but the guy had a stroke. I mean, not too long afterwards.
And listen, attack, I think it was.
It was a stroke. And Campea was his friend. So I'm going to go on what his friend said. So I'm hoping I'm not paraphrasing too much. But yeah, that documentary, like I said, I can tell you what happened. Somebody started looking at what was being made and said, no. And we talked way too much. That movie, we've talked way too much about a movie that should never see the light.
But we do need to have a correction from Dort Knight. It's not a spider. It's a Thanagarian snare beast. Okay, you're right. It's like, I'm looking at his Wikipedia now. It was a stroke in 2018. He suffered from. It was very unfortunate because he was on Collider a lot, and yeah, he was close to the Campea.
He was the godfather, in my opinion, of the kind of conversion from what John Campea was doing with AMC, and to the kind of stuff that we all do now, as far as like that blend of having. He was the resident geek. That guy, and Robert Burnett knew him. We were talking. This guy was a wealth of knowledge. I mean, you know, and he was passionate about, you know, what he was talking about. He was a cool dude. He was only like 52, 53 when he died. And I remember watching the John Campea show 4 days after, 4 days before he died. He actually passed away. It was when I started watching John Campea's show.
Oh,
And
man.
I remember him taking the day off because the day that he passed away, or the very next day he was supposed to do a show, he basically came on and said, "I can't do a show today," or did it the night before. And
Oh,
I can,
yeah, I
yeah.
believe it. That's like
Um,
I don't fault him for that. I mean, I would too.
yeah, I mean, it was tough, and that was when I first started watching John Campea. But yeah, you hear him referred a lot in a lot of circles too. You hear John Snap's name put you know, in a lot of circles. That guy was very well respected, and like I said, I don't, you know, the documentary is actually good, but like I said, that movie, that, oh god,
Well, and
next time.
he really, I mean, like you said, he poured everything, you know, his whole soul into him. He interviewed Tim Burton, who was going to direct the movie. He interviewed he interviewed what concept art. He interviewed I mean, he did his homework on that. He took it as deep a dive on an unmade Superman movie as I think anybody could, as you know, making a documentary. So, you know, I'm very sad to hear that you know that it getting pirated as much as it was, that impacted him both financially and emotionally to the extent that it did, and may have actually, as you said, may have like had it weighed a bit on him as, you know, the end of his life.
Yeah, don't pirate, man. Listen, I hate that shit. You know,
Mm.
I know the appeal. You know, and even my old Napster and LimeWire days, I kind of regret those, to be honest with you. And like I said the other night, I regret those. But you know, when you know, and it's not justified ever, but you're taking, when the Rolling Stones, when you're ripping a Rolling Stone and song back in 1999, 2000, you're talking about, you know, a group that is, you know, is literally burn money and still be multi-millionaires. When you have these indie guys and stuff like that that are making this stuff, it's never right. But when you have indie guys that are putting everything in it, they're borrowing money, they're getting finance, and they make something like that, and you pirate it, you really eliminate that guy from the playing field. You make it so that guys like that can't have the resources to do that stuff again, and it's just going to be the big conglomerates who do that stuff. So I'm not a big fan of piracy. If you have a problem with the price, don't fucking buy it. If you think you should get it for free, ask yourself, did it cost? How much was it free for the guy to make it? Do you want that said person or woman to be able to make other things again? You know, so think about that. And I was kind of sad that would happen with him. No, listen, I sort of, I mean, Multiverse of Madness was a mess of a movie, but I think it's because Marvel wanted different things and Raimi wanted different things. And that movie was horribly cut up, in my opinion. I don't like the way the story flowed. I thought that I know what Sam Raimi can do when he's left to do his shit. I just thought that the management at the time, which I don't think was all Kevin Feige on his own, it was Chapek and them. I think that they wanted something else because Kevin Feige lets you do is, you know, he gives you the framework and says, here's what we need you to do, and then we're gone. I think Multiverse of Madness ended up being just a mess. I know it made a lot of money, but and I like Doctor Strange. I like him in that, and I thought there were things in that, you know, in that movie that worked, and then there's other things that don't work. I think it's disjointed. It's pace. If you guys hear me talk a lot about movies, what's important to me when it comes to movie, pace is important. There was no pace to that movie. But there are elements in there that I really did love. It's a horror movie, you know, and I think that it's Elizabeth Olsen's best performance of that character. All right, what do we got here? They're gonna do with America's character. Okay. Oh yeah. I think you'll see her again. I think everybody you saw in Multiverse of Madness is gonna be in the next Doctor Strange movie headed into Secret Wars. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to disagree with this one. Yeah, I feel that MCU has no respect for Black Marvel characters. Killed off the Black Panther, does nothing with Blade, and Ironheart looks appealing, and they forgot about Monica. All right, so I'm gonna go with these top to bottom. They respected the Black Panther enough to give him his own movie and give it that kind of budget, which is not something we've had. That, you know, so yeah, that was the first big budgeted $1 billion movie that had one of us headlining it, not as a guest star, not as a sidekick, the named character. They took one of Jack Kirby's and Stan Lee's earliest creations and made them into a movie. So I can't say that they didn't have any respect. The decision to kill him, his character, was a mistake, but I don't think that was done out of disrespect. I actually think that was done any other way, but I just think they made a mistake. Blade, I just explained to you why the road that they should take with Blade. They should have never. Blade's not a top tier character. Blade's not a character that we really should have been having a solo movie anyway. He should have never been in Eternals. Now, they made mistakes. I don't think that's disrespect. The fact that they're even thinking about doing a movie. Now, where they can pay him the utmost respect is to put him in the character in the best position to thrive, and that's in a Doctor Strange movie. Monica, in general, wasn't a top tier character. She's another sidekick derivative character. And Ironheart, nobody fucking cared. That's not disrespecting the characters. That's just what those characters are. From Black Panther all the way down to Ironheart, you just have different regards of either mistake making that they did or different regards of characters, whether they cared or not. They gave Monica a prominent part in a $1 billion movie. She's in over a quarter of that movie, and then she's basically in half of WandaVision. And she's in another movie that wasn't very good, but that's not disrespect. I have to respectfully disagree with you. Well, that's the point of view from this person of color. Another person of color is going to maybe have a different take, but I disagree with you on those bases. I hope that answers your question. All right, we had a lot of people talking today. I want to make sure I get as much of everybody. Very funny. Haha, gotcha. Let's see. Oh, wow. I'm way down. Sorry. I'm going to skip to the bottom a little bit. What about the Flash? Okay. I'm going to go down to the bottom. I don't know. Yeah. And the more that I exist in this type of community and the more I talk Geek and I see some of the older stuff that he did because it pops up, I miss him too. Lost media is preserved to archiving, distributing. Is that a bad form? No. To me, like I said, I don't know if there's different levels of piracy or anything that's acceptable. But if Brad were to make a documentary about kung fu or something like that, and Brad got a lot of money together to make it. He put the last 4 or 5 years into his life to make this movie. And now, it's about to get released on formats so where Brad can get his money back, pay back the people who loaned the money, and get some credibility as somebody who can draw. Now, if I go ahead and take that, I take Brad's shit, I download it, and I put it everywhere else where a lot of people can just watch it for free, Brad doesn't get that revenue that Brad is on the hook. Brad's credibility goes away. As a draw, it goes away. As somebody who can draw revenue, even though there are people watching it, he has the people watching it. That hurts Brad. Brad never got to take off. And when Brad goes to make another documentary, they're like, dude, you didn't draw that much, even though there's piracy out there. And a lot of those people won't go look for the views and say, well, there's a million people that watch Brad's Kung Fu Diary. They just didn't pay for it. A lot of people ain't going to want to hear about that. Now, it's not like Game of Thrones, where Game of Thrones brags about the piracy. But Game of Thrones is made so much money for HBO that the amount of piracy, they're not going to feel that. Brad will feel that.
When it's at the stuff at the bigger level like that, then they actually use piracy as the studio uses piracy as a metric of popularity. It's like they accept like piracy is inevitable. So it's like, okay, how much are we getting pirated? It's like that. It at least, even if we're losing revenue on that, we're making so much money off of this. It
subscriptions and everything else, and
that doesn't really hurt us like on that because it's popular enough as it is. But also, then add in the piracy numbers to like the legitimate numbers, then it's like, okay,
it's really overwhelmingly in their favor. And like I said, most people who watch that high end content, most people want the content to be non-pirate, the best that they can get.
Yeah.
When you're talking about indie people, when you're talking about somebody making documentaries, when you're talking about somebody who a lower end guy that doesn't have a multi-million-dollar a record contract, just trying to make it. Like I said, you could make the argument that no level of piracy is good, but the effect it has on a guy like John Snap, who wasn't a big star, but he put a lot of his time and got a lot of money together to make that. I know people who've made documentaries. I know people who spent 10 years putting together documentaries, and it takes them so long because they piece it together where they can afford to. So when that person finally gets to the point to where, okay, here's my shit, and they can't draw, but people are watching their stuff, they're never that kills that fire. You're not going to kill Game of Thrones, but you can kill a Brad's fire like that, or somebody on Brad's level. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's different levels and different consequences to it, I guess. Let's see. I got to get to the bottom. All right, I'm at the bottom.
Here's the bottom, and no, I'm never doing this. It's like no.
Yeah, that has a buzz. Nah.
Who would watch that documentary anyway?
There's a lot of the people who made that franchise millions. I guess I don't know.
Okay, and of course you guys are all reminded. Yeah, it's coming out next summer. It's like,
not necessarily. Not necessarily
expect that to be a big blockbuster either.
It might be. You can never tell. That's not necessarily true, Daniel. Because what if Brad's documentary is really good, but you won't. It would affect him. The levels mean something, because something really good on HBO that has a distribution like that has it in millions of households that people are going to see no matter what. It doesn't need that kind of engine. Yeah, it's you would be right. But when Brad's Kung Fu Dynasty documentary is not going to have that widespread distribution. That's what being an indie is. So that mentality hurts Brad, but it doesn't hurt like HBO or a Disney like that. Okay, because the hype around Brad's documentary is only going to get more people to watch it for free. Whereas when you're talking about a major streamer or a major studio, that's going to get them to subscribe because they want that quality. There's different levels. Like I said, what happened to Snap I thought was awful. But it's fourth, but whatever.
Yeah, and fourth, I mean, he made a mistake about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to give himself up with the fly. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to fuck up and print something on the screen with him and the fly. It's happening. Okay, but then that's fine, but Brad has to let his investors and the people who put down the money know that that's all it's for. You're gonna get a producer title in the end credits or like that, and you can do a Kickstarter, things like that. If that's what you're doing it for, that's fine. Even still, I don't know if that's okay. But when we're talking about like a guy like John Snap or guys like who do these things like that, that's what they were doing for a living. That's what they were making their living on.
And like I know people too who are like finance not even like documentaries. I mean, people who have like financed like actual like movies, through and these again at the indie level where it's like they're filming these things for like $1 million if they're lucky, and and the schedule's like you basically got 3 weeks to get this thing in the from beginning to, yeah. So it's when you got people like working at that level to the point where they have to crowdfund to get it rolling, they will feel the pinch of that far more so than any Game of Thrones, like William said, they can afford to brag about. It's like we're the most pirated show in the world.
Because they're stockholders. They have stockholders. Brad doesn't. Question: would you consider the Thing 2011 prequel one of the worst marketed movies ever, especially when the movie bombed at the box office? Like, yeah, I think they're both horribly marketed movies. I think I love both of them. Obviously, Blade Runner. You guys know how I feel about Blade Runner. It's my favorite movie, period. And it augments my other favorite movie, which is the original Blade Runner. Yeah, I thought Blade Runner was to this day, I think Blade Runner is the worst marketed movie I've ever helped promote. It was criminally under served by its lead-in narrative, and they just it becomes such a cult classic. People say, "Oh, Blade Runner, everybody's going to come see it." No, you needed to prime people. Trust me, as somebody who can literally lip sync the entire fucking movie, I would tell you that you needed to get people involved in this to make them feel like they were on board with guys like me, and they just didn't do it, and it's sad. Granted, the failure of Blade Runner 2049 in the box office didn't hurt it one bit, to be honest with you. It went on to win 2 Academy Awards. And it sparred a group of comics that are great, a TV series, a cartoon that I love to death, And now we have Blade Runner 2099, which is based off directly from 2049. So there's box office failures, but trust me, I remember getting the for your consideration email, and talking to my guy that was our intermediate with Warner Brothers. Yeah, movies lose money sometimes, but not every movie can get nominated for Academy Award. And when you're a science fiction movie, to win for, listen, if you've done a science fiction movie and you win for best visual effects, that's the thing. Yeah, you might, have, best movie, there's all those type of things. But when you're a science fiction movie and it is about visual effects and you are awarded an Oscar for visual effects, that's a big deal. Cinematography, the guy who did that, Roger Deakins, is one of the greatest cinematographers of all time, had been nominated 14 times and he won on his 14th time. It was Blade Runner. So yeah, the marketing doesn't always, serve the movie right, but it happens. It happens. And those two movies, to be honest with you, Blade Runner wasn't hurt by it overall in the long scheme of things. I thought the Thing prequel, I thought it hurt it. Plus, you had a lot of people that were against a Thing prequel could begin with, because you have those people that, you can't touch the classic. It's like, platinum shit. We can't touch it. The pile just has to stay there. No. All right, so I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, and then we'll go from there.
All right. What you guys got? I agree with that. It's relative skill of the platform. Yeah. I remember this is one I've talked about on here a bit before. Is Street Fighter Assassin Fist. Joey Ansa, Christian Howard, Mike Moe. If you're watching, how's it, guys? Yeah, that was. It started out as a fan film in 2010 on YouTube called it was called Street Fighter Legacy, and they uses basically their pitch to get a Street Fighter project rolling. And they eventually got it rolling as Assassin's Fist. That started out. They started like I forget whether it was Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but they had one of those for the crowdfunding, and then they ended up canceling the crowdfund on that because they had some people who had seen it saying, "Oh yeah, we like what you're doing here, so we'll put up the money for this." But even then, it's I think they made it for $2 million, which is, is pennies for something like that. So, and it's I highly recommend Assassin's Fist, guys. Go give it a look if you haven't. And it's definitely the best live action Street Fighter we've ever gotten to date. But for the resources they had, they did something really incredible with that. But yeah, again, that's but. Again, it was essentially like an indie thing. So, when it came out, if it had been, nothing but if it had only been seen through, illicit means, it's it was not like Game of Thrones where it's we can plaster on our marketing like we are the most pirated thing in the world. So, yeah, there's here's levels to it. There's who's gonna feel that pinch more, and yeah, I wasn't aware of that with John Schnepp, so that's very unfortunate. That's I miss that guy a lot too, as I enjoyed watching his commentary a lot on Collider. So yeah, what else you guys got for me? It's not about money, it's about sending a message. Was Armie Hammer supposed to do? He was cast. He was going to be Batman and Justice League Mortal. The George Miller one that didn't get off the ground. And now he's in the Dark Knight with Uwe Boll.
Oh no, that's the wrong one. I don't care about Mortal Kombat.
Oh, blasphemy!
Any show recommended currently? You're sniffling. It's just driving crazy. It's really loud. It's hey, if you guys have a dog, and your dog starts sniffing near your ear, that's what it sounds like with these earphones, because everything is enhanced. Strange New Worlds, seasons 1 and 2, 3. Mindhunters. Depends on what kind of show you're asking me about, what kind of genre. Mindhunters. If you have Netflix and you have not watched Mindhunters, watch it. It's going to enhance your life. Obviously, Stranger Things is up there for me. I speak very highly of Stranger Things. It's certain seasons are better than other, but Stranger Things season 4 is probably some of the best TV I've ever seen in my entire time on this revolving planet. Yeah, so those are the shows I would recommend to you. You got any that you would recommend to him? Or?
Any like at the moment shows I recommend?
Yeah, I know you're gonna say Cobra Kai. I mean, go ahead and get that one.
Well, I mean, technically that isn't back yet. But I mean, yeah, it's like.
Well, I'm talking about shows that have already aired. I mean, I don't know if he's looking for brand new shows
that have aired or they're going. I mean, Cobra Kai and Superman and Lois are definitely in there, and it hasn't aired yet. But I think I can logically infer I'm probably going to enjoy Daredevil Born Again a lot.
Yeah, watch this. Yep, there you went.
Well, Twilight of the Gods, we did a watch party on that back when they came out. I really enjoyed that a lot. That's probably one of my favorite shows from last year. What else? Episode? What did we list? Because we listed like ones we're anticipating.
Daredevil, the one we're watching now. If you haven't watched Daredevil, there you go.
That anyway. And I will go back back to Marvel Netflix, guys. Iron Fist. Just skip season 1.
Okay, somebody. Okay. You're asking a serious question about what to watch, and somebody is telling you, he's recommending a show and saying skip season 1. That's not a good endorsement for that show, by the way. Just go to Punisher.
Well, season 2 is a good endorsement because it makes up for season 1. It's what season 1 should have been.
That's
season 1 is phenomenal.
You can't do that. You got to do it.
You can. The hell you can't.
Go to Punisher. Just go to Punisher.
I actually have. It's like like Punisher. It's been a minute since I saw that.
We're gonna do that one afterwards if we still have enough time.
Because it's 2 seasons, so yeah, I think we might be able to.
Depending on where we're at, we could also watch it alongside because that Punisher is going to be the same Punisher. So there's my recommendation. Okay, this is a question you'd have to ask Brad. I'm sorry, guys, I don't care about where that movie ever comes out. Brad,
it's going to be out in October of this year. As far as test screenings, I think I'd heard that too. They did some last year. But I mean, that's kind of like that's about like all I know. It's like they did some test screens last year, and it comes out in October of this year. And they did get slowed down by the strike, so that's probably why it's coming out. In October this year, as opposed to like March or November of last year.
Yeah, I didn't think much of the first one, so I have not been keeping up.
I'm kind of wondering, Ray. It's like with the test screen you're talking about. It's like, will they do like is it similar to MK95, which is rad? It's the best MK movie and one of the best video games we've ever made. And I'm going to repeat that and annoy somebody here by repeating that over and over. But that actually they did some test screens on that. And that's how you got that. They extended the Johnny Cage and Scorpion fight from the test screens. The audience said they wanted some more action in it, so they extended the Scorpion and Johnny Cage fight. They went back and did reshoots. They extended the Johnny Cage Scorpion fight, and they added the Liu Kang and Reptile fight, and those are considered the best parts of the movie. So that's an instance where it's like test audiences did actually improve a movie. So I mean, you don't need to like write off test audiences necessarily.
I do. Because usually they're seeing a version of the movie that doesn't mean shit for that, because you're not necessarily showing them any part of them. You may even just show them like a couple of scenes put together. I mean, that has no out of context. So I write it off as nothing, because now when you do the whole movie, but even then, those are usually work prints. They usually change a lot of that stuff based on what your response is. So a lot of times a test screening, what's in a test screening never makes it in that, but that format. And I wish fans would stop, I don't know. I think too many people when they hear the word test screening, they think of it as something that they should refer to. When I've sat on some of those, and they're like, dude, you got green screens and shit. Some of them are not even scenes; they're literally drawings.
Yeah, well, you'll have like certain executives say the movie's unwatchable from those test screenings, and then they'll totally.
That wasn't a test screening.
The whole franchise because of that.
Yeah, that wasn't a test screening. They had
Well, yeah, but it would have still had a lot of that, like the storyboards, like placeholder kind of thing.
No. The movie that the executives shit canned. Are you talking about Batgirl?
No, I'm talking about Justice League.
Oh, I thought I hadn't heard anybody with any credibility say it was unwatchable though.
Yeah, well, that internally that's what they said. It's like, this is unwatchable, so we have to bring in Joss Whedon and refilm it, and it all led to that. So.
But those weren't test screenings; those were dailies. And
those are executive screenings,
that's a little bit different.
But again, it's still also not a fully finished, because again, you have like not fully finished effects and things like that. So
I think you should ignore it. Whenever you hear things about test screenings, I think people should just ignore them and move on.
the way they can. Well, he's going to be back in Mortal Kombat 2, so he is coming back. So we will see him again in MK2, and I'm actually probably the character, one of the characters in, because I mean I've interviewed him, so one of the characters I'm most looking forward to seeing is Joe Taslim go from a Sub-Zero to Noob Saibot in MK2. That's going to be hey, listen forth. It's like I can hold a grudge on this, like you can't imagine. So.
Test screenings are good for, okay, so say we've gotten halfway through the movie, right? And we're at a juncture where we need to know how an audience, any type of audience, would accept where we're going in this direction. And the feedback that you get from the test audience may change the trajectory of with the film. This isn't, so we introduce this character in this way, and this way, that way, and with this, and I know, what do you feel about that? And you're like, okay, it doesn't work for me. This works, this is cool. But I just all this other stuff over here is too much. And then they do it because a lot of times you're doing test screenings while the movie is still being shot and in production, or in pre-production. Like some of the post-production stuff, the post-edits and stuff, those will be determined about how test screenings go. But there's not enough necessarily there for anybody, like when somebody says, "Oh, that there was a test screening was bad." Now, if they're saying that they saw the complete movie at they had to complete, and then they say it's bad, that's something you might want to, even if you don't agree with it, that would be something that's more damning, because those people are now having a decision of how are we going to drop the money to distribute this movie? Where's this movie going to go? Is it going to go in the theaters? If the response from the executives isn't good, the financiers are sitting in on that one, and they're like, I don't think we want to give 35% of our money away to a box office. If we're going to put this out, we need to be able to get our money back. So those are what those are for. But like test screenings, when they put like test audiences in, I would ignore those, because there's just not enough there to go on.
By the way, Steppenwolf, see you got your head back on, so good to see you again with your head, man.
That's a horrible joke, man. Let's see. Yeah, Bell's figured it out, so there you go.
Oh no, it's like, you were you there for that, Bell? When I think it was about 2 weeks ago, where Forth, he left like some kind of comment, and he left it as, like, I think it was his Williams pants, but he also left it on his regular profile, and it was
he put it both, question. Yeah. I'm like,
so he put them in both, so like we tell, okay, this cat's out of the bag now.
And he's gonna do that with Williams, so I have no doubt that he'll fuck up and put a clap on there too.
Yeah, he said I think he was asking. I forget what the question was, but he typed the question in his normal profile, and then he I guess he forgot he did that and typed it in the Williams pants profile. So we see them like separated by like 6 comments, like, and they're identical questions, like word for word, they're identical. So it's like, okay,
he hit enter again because he had 2 different screens up.
Yes, we were going to get Johnny Cage. It's going to be Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. I kind of was hoping for Scott Adkins, to be honest, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I will sleep just fine if it was like Yahoo Series. I'm not going to see that movie. So.
I will definitely. Aaron's going to see it because Aaron's like,
a lot of people
we think exactly the same way. So it's like, of course, Aaron's my baby sis. Totally.
That's creepy. Quit saying it. That movie was bad. That movie was bad for free. That's how bad that movie was. It was free, and I was still looking for some refunds. That's how bad that movie was. It had some scenes, some really cool shit.
The beginning and the ending was like the Scorpion Sub-Zero parts.
Yeah, that movie was. The movies I want to see get sequels, and shows I want to get continuations, I have to fight like hell to get. But shit like Mortal Kombat 2021. That just gets a sequel when that wasn't a good movie at all. It's kind of disheartening, actually. But I can't get a season 3 of Mindhunters. Well, we can get more Mortal Kombat. The fuck.
That's good. Yeah, it was pretty good. The animated movie Scorpions Revenge, that was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Never saw it. Won't be seeing it.
Why you gotta get Mortal Kombat, man?
Because everything I've seen from it is
got the 3Ds in. I mean, it's defined by the.
Yeah. 3D. Okay. In a Violent Nature had all 3Ds.
They had
as well.
congressional hearings about the 3Ds, man.
You can have all 3Ds and the movie still suck. Okay, that doesn't. I mean, and if it's meant to suck, like if it's a B movie already, or if it's if it's meant to be that type of movie, then fine. But Mortal Kombat was masquerading as a good movie, and it wasn't. So sorry.
Mindhunters is an IP. William Mortal Kombat is. Well, I mean, I think how many seasons Mindhunters have? Like 2.
2.
Yes, I think like once you've like accrued, yeah, it's not enough. Once it wasn't like based on anything when it started, but once you've like built up like enough of a catalog of what you've done with like any kind of like new property, I think at that point it's fair to call it an IP.
Yeah. Yeah, it's comparing Mindhunters to Mortal Kombat. I don't know what to do with you today, Daniel. Yeah, Pooh, Blood, and Honey is elite. No, but see, here's the thing, though. Mortal Kombat was supposed to be a cinematic experience that was released on a wide scale and by a major studio. I knew exactly what I was going in when I went for Blue Blood, Honey, and it made, it met my expectations. And whenever they do these Mortal Kombat movies, they're supposed to be these high-end movies, and they end up not being very good. Sorry. Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's usually someone else's money. Most movies are made off of borrowed money from these firms that get together and they put the money, like the Weinstein Corporation, places like that. So yeah, it's. I know it sounds it sounds kind of simplistic to say studios want to do anything original. They want to go with proven IPs because they're usually just their ass on the line. A better movie. That's I expected a better movie. I mean, I guess that was too much. Taladia has been a member for 4 months. Thank you for the support, Taladia. 4 months. Let's go. Hope the crew's doing good. Yeah, we're doing all right. You should be just getting up in the morning, right? Yeah, I saw that. Listen. I wouldn't go with the venereal disease now, but it wasn't a very good movie. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness. That's 7 a.m. my time here. They don't mean anything to me anymore. They mean a lot to listen. The Oscars does not need to change for me. I'm just not going to watch it. They've gravitated away from me, All right, so let's take a look at. I want to look at this alien from before we go. Who's trolling? I haven't. Well, other than Fourth, who's trolling, Bev? I didn't see anybody. All right.
Who came in here?
I don't know. Bell Ref says she saw somebody trolling.
Oh.
I mean, we have our internal trolls like Fourth, and really miss you on the last stream. Yeah, I just I was otherwise disposed this weekend, so I really wanted to be on there too. So, all right,
who's trolling? Who's trolling? Yeah.
I didn't see anybody, but then again, I miss a lot of trolls because I take their questions seriously sometimes, so I read troll questions. Okay, so apparently there's somebody in here that she recognizes as a troll, but I don't recognize them as a troll.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah,
I think that's it. We'll watch the Alien Earth thing came out with a new little.
Oh trailer. Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty good actually.
And then the Superman one. I'm gonna play that one real quick and get demonetized, and then we're gonna call it a night. Because I know Fox will demonetize me.
Yeah. Not a fan of the Oscars. Well, Aaron, nobody's got slapped yet at the MTV Movie Awards, so it's like I don't know. They're still kind of virgins on that.
Yeah, and like I said, the only reason I tuned in that year is because to see what the hell was happening, and I was on Poindexter Lounge at the time. So, all right, let's do some money. Here we go. So that looks horrifying. I'm really looking. I wish this was. I don't wish it was summer already because it's gonna be like 100,000 degrees here. But for those reasons, I wish it was summer. That show looks great. Trailer looks great. There was a Superman one, but I'm sick of looking at it, so we won't go over that one. Bell, message me and let me know who this troll is. You don't have to say it here. I'm just curious to see who's trolling me. All right. Oh, it's actually. I didn't realize that's actually her in her thumbnail. All right. I wish there was more attention, but I guess there. Yeah, I think everything that's happening with Alien right now is going to be a line through through Romulus and all those other things that are going to come after that. So I think you're going to see things that are consistent to that. All right, guys. That's it. That's all I got to say. I think we covered a lot for a show that had no topic today. So I think I've made up for my absence over the weekend. So anything else? You got anything else?
No, I think that's everything for the evening.
All right, guys. Well, if there's such a thing as a happy Monday, you are now here in it. So we will reconvene tomorrow night. We're going to do episodes 7 and 8 of that's 7 and 8, right? 7 and 8 is what we're on tomorrow. So we're closing in on the. After that, we'll have 5 episodes left of this season, which will probably get done by the end of this week, and then we'll move into season 2, and then we're going to be done well before March 4th. So we'll probably hit up Punisher after that because I think Punisher, obviously, you've seen is relevant to what Disney is doing with him. So, all right. I think I'm going to go get something to eat. I bought some fish. Going to get something to eat. Take some medicine so I can fight off whatever it is I'm coming down with. Hopefully head it off. And we will see you tomorrow night. It's going to be a little bit later. Stream is going to, it's going to be our usual indecent hour. So expect but like I said, the vast majority of people who watch our channel watch it in the daytime anyway. So expect that chime to happen at about 11 o'clock, letting you know that we'll be on the air at 11:30. Until then, I will see you tomorrow night. For Brad from Curran from comic.com, I've been William from the Sci-Fi Center. We will see you tomorrow night for Daredevil.
There, guys.